did you get sorted as?
I was a Hufflepuff.
I'm sure they're okay with that. Oliver, what about you, man?
I was a Gryffindor on that, but in terms of like the backstory and everything, it was quite a cool character. And seeing like George kind of had like he was just like outside of a friend of George's scenario, had to be really. So that's quite cool. Character.
Devin?
Backstory, I'm not gonna lie, I never read it. There's no point in lying to you all. So, yeah, but I have been sorted and I was a Slytherin.
Not as a spy this time, though.
Sorry?
Not as a spy this time, just...
No, not as a spy. Unfortunately.
Matthew?
I haven't read it or been sorted either. So I don't even have an answer.
Shame on you.
Sorry.
All frauds. Get out.
What do you think I'd be? Go on, Ollie. Go on. Hufflepuff.
They're claiming everybody now.
Hufflepuff. Yeah, alright.
Cool with whatever. Alright, good question. Julia, what do you got up there?
Alright, I have Lindsay from Orlando, and she has a question for Matthew.
Really excited. If you could eat any magical food or drink from the wizarding world, what would it be?
Fire whiskey. I've always wanted to try that. And it's cold right now, so it'll probably help out.
Yeah, it'd be a perfect way to stay warm last night for sure. Good question. Steven!
I got Michael from St. Cloud.
Before I ask this question, just saying it's an honor to ask you guys a question because I'm a huge fan of you guys. But my question is, if you could choose a favorite scene from your movies, what would it be?
Does that ask for anybody specific or just...
All of them, sir.
I think we're going to start with you.
Favourite scene? Do you mean, is that like to film or to shoot, do you reckon? To film or to watch, do you reckon?
We'll say to film.
To film. My favourite scene to film was probably blowing up the bridge stuff in Deathly Hallows Part 2. We had such a laugh that we were on that bridge for such a long time, doing all the stunts and stuff required for that out at Pinewood, and it was great because they built so much of it. I mean, you were halfway up the side when you were filming stuff. And
that's right, I was jumping from beam to beam, planting the charges to load up,
yeah.
to load up.
It was really cool. It was just like there's so much went into it, and when we actually finally finished it, we blew the bridge up, and it was kind of a total feeling of satisfaction and completion when we did it. It was really cool.
For me, it's not something that I had a big part in. It was actually when Neville stands up to Voldemort. And I just thought Matthew was doing an amazing job watching him grow from the very first movie up until the very last movie, and he just outshone. Like, he just completely nailed it. It's by far my favourite scene out of all the movies, because Matthew just nailed it.
Oliver?
Mine was when Harry and Ginny first kiss. And it was awkward to film.
It was like Creeper in the corner.
Yeah. But to actually, it was really good to do because it was a really comical moment as well. And I've actually heard of people do that to friends who are kissing and just go, morning. Really ruined the moment. And,
you ruined it well, that's good.
I enjoyed doing that.
James.
Mine would be, for you guys who were there last night, the scene where Fred and George put their names in the Goblet of Fire for the first time. It it was just so much fun to do. I mean, that scene took 3 days to shoot. Yeah, but it was just really cool, really good fun. And since then, if I've been out and like at a bar, for example, there'd be these. It has happened on a couple of occasions. Someone from the other side of the bar, like oi oi, and they do that thing where they put the arms around each other and drink like that. So, yeah, that was a really fun scene, good fun scene to do, and we got to do some stunts as well in that. So yeah, really good.
Very nice.
I like the Bill and Fleur's wedding because it was just cool to see a wizard wedding, how that worked. And I always liked the scenes where there were lots of people and I wasn't really featured because it meant I could just go like I was just in the Harry Potter book and just play. And also the thing about the extras on Harry Potter, for that set especially, they got a lot of like older actors who had crazy beards, and those kind of guys who have 2-foot beards, they are kind of like wizards, even though they're muggles. They're always really interesting, so it was just funny, like wandering around the set and talking to these would-be wizards in real life if they had magic powers. So
you're saying anybody with a long beard is pretty much a wizard?
Pretty cool, yeah, it's quite an achievement. And the dancing was fun. We got to do like the awkward dad dancing, but then Luke joins in, so it was fun.
Very nice. Now, Erin, you got somebody down there?
I do. This is Devin Nunez, who is our Hot Topic Sweepstakes winner.
Okay, so my question is for all of you, and I wanted to know if you had total creative control over your character, regardless of what J.K. did after the books, how do you think you would have developed after the series ended? Your character.
I'll answer straight away.
Too soon?
I think that like
maybe a rewrite. Bring him back for his own series.
I think it would be like Weasley's Wizard Weasley would become like a franchise, and they'd have done that, and maybe the Ghost of Fred. Spoil it to anyone who hasn't seen it.
You can bring the ghost back to consult on the store.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you can be all over the shop, yeah. That's great.
Devin?
I think Seamus would have went off in the pyrotechnics. For sure, like, he was only going that way anyway. So, yeah, I think that's what Seamus would do, go off and blow up buildings and do whatever needed to be done.
It's tough. You know, when we completed Neville's story arc, I just thought it was so perfect and so nice the way that he evolved and became, you know, the herbology teacher at Hogwarts and all that kind of stuff. And is it Hannah Rabbit, I think, that he eventually settles down with? I thought she wrote such a great backstory for him and what he went on to do. And, I don't know how much really I would have changed it, to be honest. I think I'm pretty content with that.
Said in the web chat that she goes on to be a naturalist, and I really like that because I really think Luna's connection with animals is very important because, you know, animals are so non-judgmental and they're so, they just be, and that's the way Luna is. She just bees herself, she doesn't worry about what anyone thinks, so I do like that. But I don't know about her getting married, because she gets married and I kind of think she's a bit too free-spirited and can't imagine her being tied down with kids, so I don't know, maybe she'd start some sort of hippie cult and then leave him around for a few years and then leave, and she's just somebody who doesn't stay attached very long.
She's a free spirit.
Yeah, she just explores.
Jason.
Hey, we've got Billy from West Palm Beach with a question for, all right, Ivana.
Hi Ivana, just wanted to say first that we really missed you at the Quidditch World Cup last year, and my question is, I know you're a huge Muggle Quidditch fan, and we're wondering if you're going to come back this year.
Muggle Quidditch? Yeah, sure. I mean, I suck at it. I once had to, I wasn't even playing the game, I had to assist the Golden Snitch, and I just lost the game for him, because he gave me this spray to spray in the other people's face, and I'm just not that competitive, and I was also just so amazed by all the whirling things that I ruined him and I lost the game for him. Yeah, so I'm
sure they did.
But I'll stay way back to knowing I won't interfere with anyone. Are you on a team?
I played for the FSU team, Florida State University. Oh no!
What position are you?
I play mostly beater.
Good luck.
You.
Julia.
All right, I have Allie from Deltona, Florida.
I just want to say I love you guys, and I was wondering, what was it like to work with Alan Rickman?
It's not a good start.
To be perfectly honest with you, he's one of the nicest guys you could ever wish to meet. He's quite obviously his voice is very intimidating, but he's a very, very funny man actually. And again, just like all the other adult actors, they're all very encouraging if you had a question, because pretty much all of us were learning as we did the job. So they're all very encouraging to go and ask them questions about how to prepare for a scene or deliver a line, whatever. But yeah. Alan Rickman was just one of those guys who's very, very nice and very great to work with.
Yeah, I think it goes without saying, we're all massive fans of his work and was before meeting, to go to the read-through and see the Sheriff of Nottingham sat over, across the way, it was just a bit crazy. And so yeah, a huge inspiration to me. And I remember on his last day of shooting, I just went down to his trailer just to say, the last 10 years, working with you was pretty incredible for me, and I really, really appreciate you being involved. And he was just like, come in, sit down, have a cup of tea, just like talking about the future, what to do next, and a bit of advice and stuff. It was just, he didn't need to do that. It was just above and beyond, and that's the kind of people we were fortunate enough to work with. They were all like that. So yeah, it was great.
Steven.
Hey there, I have Alexandra from Kansas City, and she has a question for anyone on the panel that would like to answer.
Did J.K. Rowling ever tell you anything about your characters that has not been shared?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Say it one more time.
Has J.K. ever told you, any of you, anything about your character individually that has not been shared with the world?
It's all pretty much out there.
She told me while she was writing book 7, she used to come to the set, and she knew how excited I would get when she gave little facts. So she would just tease me with things. But I remember at the time she told me about Rolf Scamander, and this is the boy who Luna eventually marries. And she told me that he was supposed to be in book 7, and he was supposed to impart the information that Xenophilius does about the Deathly Hallows. And all through writing, we wrote that out. She was like, he's in, he's out, he's in, and he didn't make it in, but he was originally in book 7, she told me. And she also told me something about Luna, which I found really useful it was on number 5, when we were in the Ministry of Magic, and we were like fighting the Death Eaters, just fighting. And Luna, like everyone else is kind of afraid, and well, not afraid, but like anxious, and their tension is high. And I couldn't figure out how Luna would be in that situation, because she's always so fun. She's like, everyone else is like, oh my god, the Dark Lord's here. And she's looking at the patterns on the ceiling. She's just not with it at all. So I was like, how do I, at the same time, David Yates was very much like, you need to be more afraid. You're in the Ministry of Magic with Voldemort and his gang. So, so I talked to Jo, and she said, well, actually, Luna, she is the most adjusted to death in the series, like even more than Dumbledore, so she's not worried about, like, death. She doesn't think that's the end, that's not final for her, but she does care so much about her friends, so she's worried for them. So, yeah, that was interesting, it was useful. And I thought it was just crazy, because Dumbledore is someone who, he seems like, he doesn't care about death, and the fact that Luna's even more sort of spiritual than him, that was significant to me.
Aaron.
Yes, Austin. I have little Jack here from Lake Mary, Florida, with a question for the panel. Jack, what's your question?
Do you guys have any advice for a little actor like me?
How old are you?
10.
Well, that's the age that I first got cast in the movie, you know? So it's never too early to start. I would say, personally, if it's what you want to do, then just keep at it, you know, keep going and believe in yourself and don't listen to anyone else who says you can't do it. Just say, if I want to do it, I'm going to do it. Good luck.
He's like, yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, if you've got a script and you've got to learn your lines, just learn your lines. Like, I know it sounds silly, but it's quite easy to put it off. Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it later, I'll do it later. But nothing that you do whilst putting it off feels as good as actually doing it there and then. So yeah, just go for it.
And maybe like record yourself so that you can watch it back. So you can say, hey Aaron, I don't like the way I'm doing that, I don't like how I'm doing that. So you can watch it as many times as you want. And then you'll also you can record, say your mum or your dad can read the other parts. And then you can listen to that and not record you. So that you can add in the parts that you want while you're listening to it in headphones and things like that.
All good advice. You got one?
I just want to say, I think you're doing great already. Like the fact that you're so young and can stand up in front of all these people. I wouldn't have been able to do that at your age. So I would say just keep being yourself. You know, that is the most important thing. That preserve your essence. I don't want to sound pretentious, but like actually, that's Alan Rickman. He said that something to me. You know, him recently. I met him. And I was having a crisis, and I was like, I should go to acting school. I don't know what I'm doing, and he just kind of was like, just be yourself. And he said, because they're looking at this, they're not looking at this. It's about what's inside. So I think you're already doing awesome. The fact that you have the confidence, and yeah, good luck.
Now he's taking photos. He's already on his way. Jason.
I have Isabel from Fort Lauderdale, and she has a question for Matthew.
While you were filming, did you ever like learn any life lessons? And if so, then what were they?
Man.
Always trust the stuntmen implicitly. Never ignore anything that they say. You know, growing up on a film set, you know, starting like 11 years old, working with adults on a daily basis, yeah, you know, you learn a whole lot of things. I think James sort of touched on it earlier, you know, be as prepared as physically possible for everything you do. You know, there's no point turning up and doing things, you know, at a half job and doing things half measure, and we were really sort of encouraged to do that, and we were given the environment where we could do that and grow, and yeah, everyone I think put 110% into every scene, everything they could do, and I think that's one of the main things I learned, is that if you can do 100%, then do it every single time, and you try and create the best you possibly can.
Absolutely. That's the question. Julia.
All right, I'm all the way up here with Brianna. She's a very big fan all the way from Canada.
If you had a favorite wizarding animal, what would it be?
What would be your favorite wizarding animal?
I've got to say the owls, because the post service back home is absolutely terrible. Honestly, I sent off like 20 parcels before I left, well, maybe 2 weeks ago, and they still haven't arrived to where they're meant to be, so definitely the owls.
I always get Mark out there delivering it like I did last night.
I think the hippogriffs are pretty cool, but I mean, if they were in like this type of world, I think you could have some pretty cool races with them. You could have like a steeplechase followed by some flying event, and maybe even have some half elves riding them.
I'd watch that.
I'd watch it, yeah. It's not really, it's an animal which is in the film, but it's not really a magical animal, but with Fang. He was, like, the actual dog that played him was possibly the coolest dog you've ever met. Like,
Matthew's thinking. He's got his thinking face on.
I think a bit like Gringotts, I just have a massive dragon on my house. I just sit on top of the house breathing fire at people passing by.
You never get your mail then.
I get it myself from the dragon.
And everybody else is in the neighborhood.
I just think that animals, the fluffier the better, and they're as fluffy as it gets, and they seem low maintenance, except for the shedding. They just sit on your shoulders. So yeah, Pick Puff. Or, again, the magic cat. I love cats.
We love the cats. Stephen.
Hey there, I have Paul from New Jersey with a question for anyone on the panel that would like to answer.
What do you guys have most in common with your characters?
Being twins.
Nailed it.
I guess we do like to play practical jokes every so often, and
yes, he does.
Go ahead, tell them. Last night I was returning to my hotel room, and I walked past Devon's hotel room, and Devon's hotel room had his breakfast card on the side. So instead of Devon having a light omelette, Devon had
I had absolutely everything in my office.
Apparently the goat's milk couldn't be delivered in time, so.
And the bottle of vodka.
But yeah, go back to the question. Yeah, we do like to play practical jokes every so often, and yeah, I guess it wasn't hard playing getting into character, shall we say? Yes.
Aaron.
Next, we have a fan question from Twitter.
Hi guys, this is from the AskHPcast hashtag. If you could have one sip of Polyjuice Potion, who would you want to be and why?
Anyone in the world. Anyone.
Anyone.
That was a good one.
You tell me you've never been asked this before.
Someone who, I'd love to have been a professional sportsman of some kind, so like David Beckham or something like that. When I have a kick about, pretend I'm David Beckham, would be absolutely rubbish at football.
I'd probably do everything Hermione does in Chamber of Secrets. She does it accidentally, but I would do the cat therapy.
You would own it, though.
So it never changes. I'd probably not get any more acting roles, or I'd get all of the fantasy roles. I mean, like or something. Yeah, and then I would like play with it. I'd keep adding new animals, see how many different animals I could be at one time.
Difference is
I don't know why
you wouldn't stay in the same group.
I thought it's great as a cat.
Come on, James.
No, sorry, some superheroes, like maybe the Human Torch from Fantastic Four. That'd be pretty.
Flame on.
Exactly. Probably like Peyton Manning, like this. But I wouldn't want to go back to Denver if anyone ever found out I wasn't actually him.
You're saying he's not going to win?
No, I'm saying I would win.
Yes.
Mine's kind of boring. I love show jumping, anything to do with horses, and one of my idols is Paul Darragh, and he was just like, years ago he was like the best show jumping rider in all of Ireland and Europe, so that's probably who I'd like to be, just so I can go off and be as good as him. Sorry it's not interesting, and probably nobody knows who he is, but
as long as you do, that's all I get. Jason.
Hey, we've got Anna from Toronto with a question for Ivana.
Hi, so being a fan of the book series, what was it like when you first met J.K. Rowling?
Oh, that was a moment. It was such a surreal moment. Well, it was already surreal because I'd been writing to her for a while, and she said she was going to come to set, but she didn't say when. So it was a big surprise, and it was a day we were just filming, I don't know what scene. But at the moment that she came in, Tom Felton had got me signing a book, and I was still like, I was very new to it then, and in my head I was still like, wow, I'm signing an autograph for Draco Malfoy. Reading was like finding that super cool. And then, this really attractive blonde lady walked in, followed by the producers, and I was kind of like, oh. And I didn't clock it was her first, because it just, why would it be? I just didn't think it would. But I knew because producers were there, I was like, oh, this must be someone important. And then like 5 seconds later it hit, and I was like, I just freaked out. It just was incredible, because she's such a warm and like generous person, and she's one of those people who gives you all her time and all her attention whenever she's with you. And then you think, wait, this woman created all this, everything that's around us, and everything that I've been sort of dreaming about and thinking about for the past years. And the fact that it's all contained in one small person is just mind-blowing. And the fact that she's as nice and sweet and amazing as she is, it was amazing.
Julia.
Yes, I have Jeanette with me from Vineland, New Jersey, and her question is for Oliver.
Last night, James told us about how he felt when he found out his character was going to die. How did you feel when you had to film the scene when your brother dies?
Better than Fred felt. It was different. It was really different, because at first I thought it would be a closed set. It's such an intimate moment, as we see in the film. It pans back from the Great Hall, and all the carnage was unfolded, and you see the death, the injured, and pretty much everything right we're done for him. And it was weird, like getting to an emotional point, and then having eucalyptus sprayed in my face to try and like get tears and everything. But it was, we did about 3 or 4 takes, which was enough really. I didn't really the fact that I had to cry in front of a group of people. That was probably the weirdest bit. But since then, I've always had things almost weekly sent through to me on Twitter. It's like this huge paragraph of songs conjured up saying that how we hugged each other at the end, and said we loved each other, and that it will never be the same again. Nonsense. Realistically, they didn't tell me we'd cut, so I stayed there, just lying there. We went to lunch, and I opened my eye and then realised there's no one else on the stage. So, I mean, it was a different type of thing, but I think the weirdest point though was like the next week when we were filming the exterior shots with Voldemort in the courtyard when Matt stands up to him when James wasn't there. That was the weird bit for me. That was the negative time when I came into it.
Were you still on set, or were you just not there at all?
I was dead. No, I was wrapped. So I wasn't there, which was, it's quite funny hearing from obviously all our mates that we've known for the last 10 years still working and knowing that you're not going to be there anymore. That was quite a weird feeling. But you knew that it was going to come, so I guess it was cool to be part of. Although I wasn't actually there, it was still nice to be involved in that.
imaginary sense. Although it wasn't the last scene we shot together. The last one we did was actually a pickup, wasn't it? Many months after filming it wrapped, it was Steve and the battlements with Fred and George are looking out over from one of the turrets, and you could see Voldemort's army rocking up, and all the shields had gone over. And as we were doing that sequence, actually outside of Leeson Studios, the bulldozers were ready to knock the place down. And that was when it was really like, you ready? And it was that was the most poignant bit for me. So I was like, okay, we've definitely finished it because this thing's going down tomorrow morning. So that was pretty special. It was a real moment.
Stephen.
Hi, I have Madison and Kaylee from Orlando with a question for the panel.
Hi, I just want to say first, I'm honored to be able to talk to you, and also Ivana, my friend Kaylee, you are her idol. So. My question is, what was the funniest experience you guys have had while filming the Harry Potter movies?
We can say.
There's been so many, to be honest with you. I mean, for us guys, 14 years, and Ivana's 5 or 6. Like, so many funny moments. I'm trying to think of a really...
It's one that stands out right now.
When we were filming down a scene in... we were filming one scene one day, we came off set, and Liam Gallagher was just standing there, by releasing from Oasis. But Matt, you were there, didn't you?
No, I wasn't there. Doing like Oasis are like my favourite band, and Liam came to visit. These guys took great pleasure in telling me that they got to meet him. And I wasn't there.
Where were you?
I just wasn't working that day, I was back home. And they knew as well, they knew how much of a fan I was.
I think they did it on purpose.
Yeah. So
it was just pretty surreal to walk back out of Gringotts Bank and see, and he was with one of the guys from the Stone Roses. So it was just like, aren't they?
I mean, could we be like, hey man, what's up?
But then like, we've got all these huge exteriors there. Have you seen this? Yes, yeah. I like the train. The whole carriage and shit.
Actually, I just remembered one which does actually stand out, but we did actually get in trouble for laughing at this. It was in the 5th movie, in The Room of Requirement, when The Room of Requirement is discovered and everyone's supposed to look all shocked. And the camera kind of pans on one person and pans across to everybody. And by the end of it falls on like us guys at Rupert, and every take someone would just go. And when someone does it, then it's just impossible. So yeah.
So we were all standing in one line, so you saw it like ripple across people's shoulders.
Rupert's the worst for that though. That scene, your scene.
Yeah, it was terrible. Like, it literally took all day, didn't it?
Yeah. Did we even get? There was a line that Rupert had to say to Devon about having a fistful of Weasley. Come on. He couldn't say it. And then it just, again, the infectious laughter just spread to everyone. We wasted a full day. It was so hard for you because you were trying to be like, you were supposed to be angry.
That's it, I was meant to be like really annoyed with Harry, and then Rupert comes in and does that, and everything just went downhill for the whole day. I couldn't stop, Matthew couldn't stop, Dan, he just set everybody off.
We took like an early lunch and we were like, guys, just go get it out of your system.
That didn't work.
10 hours later, still filming the same scene. Aaron, where's it going?
Right over here, with Mackenzie from Georgia, who has a question for any of you guys.
Okay, so when you see your fans what's the most touching moment you've had with one?
The most what, sorry?
What's the most touching moment you've had with a fan?
most touching moment you've had with a fan? Anyone?
I had a really random one. I was on holiday in Mexico years ago. I was swimming in the Gulf of Mexico. I was quite a way out, and this lady just swam over. So kind of just like bobbing along. And it's like, you know Harry Potter? I'm like, yeah. So I knew it. Okay, cool. Thanks. I just swam back.
She went back and collected her $20. I told you.
Yeah, well, you get like fan mail and stuff, which is like the most incredible thing. And because of the character that I played, Neville sort of being this kind of bumbling kid who was bullied and wasn't particularly good at all his magic and stuff. And then he grows up and matures and ends up in Nagini. I get a lot of letters from people who sort of have been bullied at school and struggled in childhood, and they said that they've seen the film and it's like that character journey has helped them in their own lives and stuff. And that's the most touching thing I can think of. I mean, as an actor and as a human being to hear that something that you've done to have that effect is pretty profound. That blows me away. That's pretty special.
I get that too. I get what Matt gets for the same reason, because Luna, a lot of people who've been bullied, and actually a lot of people who have like Asperger's, things like that, and people who find it hard to relate to other people. Hello, I'm so socially awkward. They always resonate with Luna, and they send letters, and it's so great because when I took on Luna's role, she was someone I really aspired to be like, and she gave me strength about being a bit different, and helped give me confidence. And now I get that back from other people, from fan letters, and people who've experienced things that I would never experience. Like, I've never been bullied that badly, and I've never had just things like that. And they tell me that, my character, my portrayal, it gives me strength. It's kind of like, it's way bigger than me, and it's kind of vast, and you don't want to take credit for it, but it's also nice to have had a hand in that, and it makes it so much more than a story and just a character. It really does change people's lives, and that's really cool.
I'm sure everybody out there feels that way, am I right?
I think for me, it was, we were on, fortunately when the films come out, we were always asked to go to all these cool countries and open the premiere and stuff. And we went to Sweden, and there were people who'd been waiting outside the cinema since the first light, just to get a good spot. And we were, beforehand, we said, is there any spare tickets for us? And we said, well, there's your tickets. We were going to go in and see the film through, so we'd already seen about 4 times all the times anyway. So we said, okay, so we had the tickets, and we said, can you point out who's been here first? So as we were going in, we said hello to them, and then just got this stick out, and do you want to go in? And they were like, I had a seat like there, and then they were like, leapt right over the barrier, and crying and everything like that. And it's only really then when you think this means it's an order to just go to the pictures with their friend. This is like the whole thing for them. And seeing that reaction was perfect. So we ended up actually doing that then every other place we went to. So I'm not sure if the guys from Warner was that happy, because that meant someone had to be there at first light to see who was there first. But yeah, I mean, it just kind of shows how much it means to everybody around the world.
The most touching thing for me, I think, is being in Harry Potter. We had to go around to a lot of hospitals and meet, say, critically ill children, and just to see, like, even their parents, they were saying, like, it's amazing that we get to go in and see them. Like, they haven't seen their children smile in so long. Like, there's one girl that'll always stick out, and I met her in Colorado maybe 6-7 years ago. Her name was Amanda, and there's a lady on that was on the first 3 Harry Potters. Her name is Paula McRae, and she set up a charity called There With Care. So what she does is Warner Brothers would give Paula the rights to have like a mini premiere in Colorado before everybody else got to see the movie. And we invited Amanda out, and me and Amanda became best buddies. Like, she was the apple of my eye, and she loved me. She got to meet Miley Cyrus the same day she met me. And she was saying, Miley, I didn't like Miley, I'd much rather you. Yes. Yeah, like, it's kind of like we'd email each other every every week and every second week. We were meant to have a little date the next time we went over to Colorado, but sadly by the time we got back over to Colorado she died, and it was something that always broke my heart. Like, she was loved her. That's the most touching thing for me.
Jason.
We have our last question of the day. It's going to be from Brianna from Georgia.
If you could pick one spell to use every day, what would it be?
One spell to use every day. What would it be? Lumos.
I actually hit my, well, you know, you get out of bed and you step on a plug which is upside down. I did that this morning. If my one was there, I could light and see what I was doing, yeah.
Probably pick Expecto Patrona, because, I don't know, it just gives you a little lift, and I'd like a little animal galloping around me all day. It's so special.
Cat?
Probably. Although I think we're squirrels at the moment, so right now I'd like a squirrel.
Use both.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to use any spells, because everything would just go wrong.
Always with the explosion.
Yes, stay away.
I think I'd allow Laura to get locked up. It would definitely save the embarrassment when the neighbourhood servants. Mr. Keegan, yeah. But yeah, that would really help.
Yeah, that's a good one. I drive a lot, and I get road rage a lot. And there's so many times on the road, like, Avada Kedavra would just come straight out.
And you got a dragon too, so I mean...
Seriously, people need to stop messing with me on the road. Like, I'm a dragon, it's coming out. I don't know.
It's dangerous.
See, I just imagine you doing that, pulling into your house with the dragon on the roof.
What a day, man.
That'd be awesome.
All right, man, that is all the questions that we have time for right now, guys. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome. We're going to go behind the scenes at Comic-Con.com at 11:30 right here. We also have a dueling demonstration at 3:30, and that you definitely want to check out. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. Give it up one more time for our panel. See you guys at 11:30.